Alrighty. Hello, everybody. It is Deanspillabean back on your screen with a kind of a little bit of a different State of Dean kind of a video. This is more going to be me. I'm going to be playing some Minecraft instead of like standing behind a normal podcasty room, and I'm just going to be working on like one of my builds for a bit while I'm just talking about stuff. This is more or less an excuse for me to actually work on here, but don't think of it as anything too crazy. So, it's been a while, I think. I've been going through a lot of stuff over the entire year. I kind of want to just go over stuff, kind of like this is kind of like a miniature year review, but also just like a pretty good idea of what I'm going to be doing next year, because I'm also trying to like piece that together almost. So, beginning of the year, if people have watched my last State of Dean video, I kind of talked about how I ended up losing a job just because I wasn't a big fan of how things were going over there, and I just wanted to quit. So that's one thing, but as a, I guess kind of as a requirement for me to do that, I had to promise myself to actually find something for me to do. And afterwards, that got to where I was trying to actually figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and that's always been a bit of a difficulty. Not because I could never find that one calling in life or anything, but it's more like trying to find something that I think I can have fun doing while being happy doing it, or at the very least not like hating it so much. And I think I was kind of worried that I would experience a lot of that. I'm not gonna like doing this job because I'm just gonna hate it kind of thing. And I'm still worried about that today, and that makes it difficult for me to actually do some stuff. But unfortunately, I've kind of reached what I'm gonna call a bit of an impasse. Because, well, as much as I would like to find the perfect job before I, like, settle down and, I guess, do something with my life, I need to actually, like, do that soon. So, I am in a weird crossroad area where I need to choose a path for me to go. And I have about probably 12 different paths that I can choose in terms of, like, which way I can go. All of them are, in their own way, good options. They all have, like, valid outcomes, or like successful outcomes, as in they'll all net me the ability to get some kind of money and probably get a living off of doing stuff. The problem I have is the moment that I go down one of these paths, I feel like I'm not going to be able to go down any of these other paths. And a lot of them, or I guess my options, are things that I'm interested in doing. Let's say I want to get into animation as an example. As much as I would like to do that, like if you follow my channel for a while, I've been working on a thing called the Murders animation, and I think by the time this video is out, there's like a work in progress footage of that. I'm still very proud of what I've made with it so far, but it's not done yet, and there's still like stuff that I want to do first. Okay, I'm just sorry. I was just thinking about what I wanted to do here, but let's see. So the animation itself, I want to finish. Although with how things are going and the fact that I have a crossroads to go down, I have to choose a road to go down, which also means I won't be able to be working on the murders animation as much. I'm hoping that at some point when I go down one of these roads, whenever I eventually make a decision, that I will be able to go back to that project and work on it some more. It's just, for now, I think that one's just going to be on the back burner. It does look really cool, though, and I've learned a lot using, let's see, can I get, like, a list really quick? Yeah. One of the mods, Axiom, that actually was really cool. That helped make the landscape of it really nice. Flashback is another one that's it's like a new and improved replay mod. And there's like other tools that I've been messing around with, like getting resource packs and shaders to work. And I think all of that was very, very interesting. Unfortunately, I'm at a point where I need to make a decision onto where I can actually get money. So, what are my options? I could, of course, go actually get a job somewhere else and get money that way, which is probably the easiest solution and like the best fallback option. But a slight issue that I have with it is that I won't be able to get into the hobbies that I want, like my YouTube channel or like animation projects, movie projects. That's another thing I want to get into, just like movie projects in general. Like I've been doing a lot with Flashback, and I did stuff with the replay mod like years ago, but I've always had a problem of like how the controls of replay mod work. That was until Flashback came out, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good and actually kind of reliable. I might actually be able to make some things with this. So, some point next year, I want to have the time to make the movies that I want. That doesn't mean that I'll be limiting myself to Minecraft exclusively. There's other games that I want to make videos on as well. Just like, man, I have a really cool idea. I want to talk about this idea a lot, or have a video on it. Squid, please move out of the way. Just go away. So, let's see. As much as I want to work on the animations or the video, it's just a lot of work that won't net me getting any money. So, how do I actually get to the point where I can make money off of doing stuff on YouTube? Well, that's getting donations opened up and actually getting ad revenue on there as well, which could work, but I think I kind of need like a larger following before I can reliably say that, yes, this is the way how I will make money in the foreseeable future. Problem with animating on YouTube or just YouTube stuff in general is that it's innately unreliable. And I've been over this in the past, but as much as I want to like work on getting my channel bigger, you only really get money from YouTube ad revenue if like a month after you've actually made the money. That is to say, it's a little difficult actually getting the money from work that you do immediately. When it comes to YouTube itself, it makes sense, but it's kind of like I need to make money first before I can start making money kind of thing. The other option is if I just randomly feel like making something and it gets big enough that I get enough attention that people can support me through the act of ad revenue and just being eyeballs to look at these ads. Although I'm not really big on the ads either. And I know there's like a whole thing where just like advertisements have been getting a lot stingier, a lot scammier. And I'm not sure that's a culture that I want to be a part of right now. I'd still be fine like doing stuff on my YouTube channel, just posting things that I like. Actually, if anything, posting stuff on my own terms actually makes it a lot better. Oh, I know I've been through like let's see. There's been talks that I have done a couple times about like how the copyright system works on YouTube, and I mean everyone knows it's problematic. The more I get into it, the more I realize how actually problematic it is. Mostly coming from I tried to play Claire de Lune on a video one time, and guess what? That got copyright flagged. It's supposed to be a public domain kind of song, because it's like a century old at this point, so it should be in public domain and free to use. In fact, multiple people have different covers of it and such. However, the problem is that some random YouTuber decided to have a song that uses the melody of Claire de Lune. I won't name them off just to like not bring them too much attention at the moment. But because their song had a melody of Claire de Lune, and they also made it go through YouTube's music topic system, now whenever I try to play Claire de Lune, I get a copyright flag specifically for that video. even though the actual song itself was something that was, you know, kind of the original. It wasn't even the original song, it was like the Ultra Kill cover of it, which I don't know if it's like the actual, like they played Clair de Lune on their own and then that was like their cover of it, or it's the actual piece. Either way, it should still be treated as the original work. And this has been another problem where copyright flags haven't been given out by the original creators of the songs themselves, but people who are using the songs, or at least a melody of that song, going out and saying, yep, this is my work, this is mine. And then YouTube's like, alright, so anyone who uses this melody is now infringing on your copyright and shall be flagged accordingly. When in reality, they're just using a melody that someone else has already made and are technically stealing, and are then gaining ad revenue from that. Or maybe they're not. I don't know exactly how the revenue sharing works. I've thought about making a video documenting more about like the problems with the copyright rules, just to like better show off the problems. And I have no idea currently how to like make a solution for that. I just know for a fact that it's a problem, and it at some point needs to be addressed. Let's see, I don't want that. Let's see. I like how I'm actually doing this time. It's like I'm actually doing a bit of a streaming segment, but I'm not actually streaming right now. It's just I'm kind of running out of time. It's like 2 days before New Year's, and I just need to get this video made and out. So there's going to be a lot of impromptu stuff, but that's all right. Anyways, back to the actual conversation about what I'm going to do with my life, seeing as that I don't feel like selling my soul to YouTube. I'm not really selling my soul, just more like relying on it for funding. What am I going to do now? Well, one thing I have been getting into, and people who've been following me would kind of understand this, voice acting. That's just a thing that I've been kind of getting into. And weirdly enough, actually, okay, I'll talk about like why I got into streaming and like the results of that. Okay, so I like talking so much. Yeah, on that topic, I like talking a lot. Let's see, a lot of the streams that I've done, I played a lot of video games, and those don't have any voice acting in them, so it was just kind of like a way for me to practice doing that. And it actually went really, really well. I had a lot of fun with it. Now at this point, I kind of feel like I should go into voice acting as a career, because I have a lot of fun doing it, but I can also just try to focus on it enough that I have fun doing it while also knowing that I'm like working for somebody, that kind of thing. I've thought about like going into video editing, which I could probably still keep that path open to me just as an option, because I do like good video editing. But I feel like the more I worked on my video edits specifically, the more I was like, man, I'm not too sure on working on it all of the time. Like, because if I get into a full-time YouTube career area, I'm gonna have to work on doing video edits a whole lot more. Which, I mean, that could probably work out, but like, my answer to not doing as much video editing is just to have better recordings. Case in point, this video. That's not to say that I'm not a good video editor. I think I'm like a really good video editor in general. From what I've seen, like a lot of other examples of people, it's a lot better than average, and I'm fine with that. But I feel like that's not really where my skills are best utilized. Or let's see, it's more like I feel more comfortable working on big special videos than frequent spammable content or content farm type stuff. For the most part, that's kind of where my feelings are with video editing. The more I get it, let's see. I do think I like making videos more than actually, or let's see, recording for videos more than actually editing for them. Because I just want to be able to have the recording done and not have as much work put into the editing side. Because that's like the most time-consuming segment of all of my video editing. So, voice acting, however, has always been a very fun side thing that I've done in the act of video editing. Because some videos that I've made, I kind of needed some voices for it. So I decided to add some voices for those, and after a while I kind of realized, I'm actually kind of good at this. Maybe I should do some more into it. And then I ended up doing some streaming, which in its own way allowed me to have a place where I can talk for a long period of time. And I think doing the whole streaming thing has actually allowed me to get into what I think was a weakness of mine, and that was improv, where I had to keep a conversation going while not going off of a script. And I think going through streaming has actually allowed me to do that very well. I've been doing that okay for a while anyway, but actually doing that in a way that's somewhat enjoyable has always been a problem, so now here we are. So, future plans that I have going into next year. There's going to be notably less videos and notably less streams as well, until I can find a foothold for me to actually be financially able to survive. I don't think if, like, all of a sudden everybody donated to me that I would keep YouTube as, like, a full-time job. Mostly because I respect your time and your money, just the same as I respect my time and my money. And if I feel like that I won't be able to provide you guys the enjoyment of my videos and on a consistent basis, I don't feel like I need your consistent funds, if that makes any sense. I would much rather I would much rather make sure that your money actually goes to good use and is actually used instead of just sitting around waiting to be used at some point. I mean, effectively, you guys donated to me is kind of like you being my boss and you paying me for work. Then there's some times when I don't feel like working, but I'm also the boss of myself, so in a way you're kind of like shareholders, I guess, in terms of like investment market or whatever the heck this analogy's for. So I don't want to burden you all with being the only way for me to get any money. So I want to be able to be self-sufficient and get money in my own way. And at the moment, the answer seems to be going into voice acting. So next year, you're going to definitely be seeing more stuff related to voice acting. I'll probably get into other games that have no voices in them and try to actually voice them as to the best of my ability. And well, in terms of like what kind of voices that I actually do fairly well in, that's always been a question for me. Trying to like piece together what kind of variants of speaking patterns that I can adopt to fulfill different character roles. Over time, that's been, while difficult, manageable. But I feel like to a point, I just need like more solid evidence of what I am and what I can be. That's all to say. Let's see. Gosh. trying to. This is the part where I feel like I can actually do really well in the voice acting area, because I always think about how I can make the voices that I make actually good and like tolerable. And it's difficult. Like, voice acting is actually a very difficult area. It's being an artist in a way. You're trying to bring a character that doesn't exist to life. So, future projects that I'll do is definitely going to be focusing on that as a motive for, like, how I converse with people. Or, not really converse with people, but more like a goal for me to strive for over time. So, that's kind of that, I guess. Shoot. Right, other path. Do I want to talk about pathways or just talk about other stuff at the moment? Actually, I think like future videos. I basically just kind of talked about like why I'm going to be doing what I'm doing next. I don't want to waste too much of your all's time. So, streaming-wise, I do want to get done with In Stars in Time and get that finished. I've been fairly busy lately, just in real-life stuff, so I haven't been able to get back to it. Although I predict, like, some point after this video gets out, I should be able to get back on there and hopefully finish up the game. I'm getting, like, really close to getting it done. I just need to, you know, actually work on that. Other streams that I'm going to be doing for, like, games in the future. I do want to kind of play Undertale Yellow and get into that, but the more I try to think about getting into it, the more I'm cautious, because I feel like it's going to be a similar thing to In Stars in Time, where it's just going to be me talking about or playing the game for, like, ever, because I try so much to focus on the game world itself. Not that it's kind of like I'm getting invested into the game kind of thing. And a problem I think I have is as much as I want to play these games for a long period of time, I also need there to be an end at some point, and I feel like Undertale Yellow is one of those games that just goes on for a very long time, which it does. Nothing against the game itself. That's actually incredibly amazing that they can make something that big. That is very difficult and should be applauded for. It's more that I don't have all the time that I want to spend playing it, and that's kind of a problem. Same with, like, there's a lot of movies that I want to watch. The new Sonic movie came out recently, and I want to go watch that at some point, but I've just been really busy, and I haven't been able to, like, have enough time spare to work towards that. But, I do have plans to focus on specific games at some point. Mostly replayable ones right now, but one game that I did have in mind that I want to play, and I only mentioned it like once in one of my Satisfactory streams. Oh, yeah, I'll get into Satisfactory in a bit. It's a game called Wonder Stop. Actually, I'm gonna pull up Wonder Stop. Play that, please, and thank you. So, Wonder Stop is a game that is made... let's see, it was written by the same guy that made the Stanley Parable. I forgot what his name was. I could probably check for that's going to be a bit. But, let's see. So, it was a game that he written, but also one of the music creator for the game is C418, the same guy that made the Minecraft music so long ago, as well as Cookie Clicker music and a bunch of other soundtracks. I adore C418's music style very much. There's I don't know how, but he's just mastered nostalgia as a music genre. I don't know how, but he was able to do it. So hearing that a game writer that for the Stanley Parable, which if you don't know much about the Stanley Parable in relation to how my channel and my life connects to it, you can go watch. It was. Let's see. Let's see. The first very big video that I made on this channel was for the Stanley Parable, which was just going over as fast as possible all of its 50 endings. That was the idea behind the video itself, and I loved it a lot. I think I did a really good job with it. But at the end of that video, there was past me was talking about how I wanted to like come back or talk about what would happen in the next 10 years or so. Mostly in relation to like one of the achievements in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and that's to not play the game for 10 years, which out of context is like a really dumb kind of achievement. Why would anyone want to wait so long for that achievement? Well, I would. The game is special to me, and it's special to a lot of other people, because with how it's written, it's like the whole game itself is satire on games as a genre as time goes on, and kind of like a weird philosophy on games as a medium, how people perceive games, how the creators of these games use it, how corporations have been kind of being very greedy with these games as well. The Stanley Parable has always been a way, or like written as satire for the entire video game market, or in the industry, and just storytelling in general. It's a lot of things. It's not a specific. Some people would say it's a walking simulator, which it kind of is. But it's like it plays with the expectation of finding specific endings, which around the time it came out, that was like a big thing where, oh, you need to get the something ending in this big game. Did you get the thingamabob ending? That's what you got to do. The whole game, Stanley Parable was just like satire on that entire everything requires multiple endings gimmick. And it played with it very, very well, and expanded a lot on what an ending actually is, or what a game's even can be as a medium. The whole game is just you walking around a office complex while a disembodied voice is just narrating everything you do. That's basically the whole game. But let's see. It's only really enjoyable the more time you spend on it, I think, personally. Let's see, just kind of thinking really quick. So, as much praise as I can really give it, it only really makes sense if people actually play the game. I highly recommend the Stanley Parable. It's very, very good. But I think a lot of the jokes that are in there only really make sense the more ingrained you are in video games as a, not just as an art medium, but just as a culture. It's kind of like a weird appreciation game for everything that's came before it. So, that being said, Wonderstop is a game that is made by the same guy, or not really entirely made, but just at least written by the same guy that made the Stanley Parable. And the premise for the game is that you play as a... Let's see, you play as a tournament fighter that, to knowledge beyond me, is now stuck in a forest where they have to brew tea for a bunch of customers that are coming by. I don't know if this was as a punishment, or they just ended up here, or they're retired, or something. I don't entirely know the story of how this prize fighter ended up in this tea shop, but that's just where they're at. Over time, while making tea is okay, there is a longing for going back to the ring, going back to fighting, because that's just been her whole life. And the game is exploring that concept where you want to go back to the life that you left behind, but you can't go back to that. And you have to make something new of yourself. Weirdly enough, that's kind of a... It's kind of an interesting subject for a game that's supposed to be a calming experience. And upon hearing that, I kind of thought of that as like weirdly weird satire on all of the very calm and relaxing games out there that are just there to be casual and play around with. This one has a story behind it, which in its own way kind of goes over kind of the same reason why you are playing it in the first place as well. Just kind of trying to either escape from a life that you can't go back to, or just to somewhere to sit and heal for a while, depending on like how bad your life is. So that kind of gameplay is, well, not really gameplay, just more storytelling, has always been something I'm very interested in. That all being said, once Wondershare comes out in March, I'm going to be playing that. That's going to be very... I don't want to say fun, because I don't think it's going to be like overly fun. I think it's going to be an experience. And I'm more interested in experiences rather than having fun. Which, good to have fun every now and again, but I'd rather have a good experience. So, I'm going to be trying to play that sometime in March. April, actually, like, what about January, February? I think that's probably just going to be me trying to go more into the voice acting stuff. But whenever Wonderstop comes around, I'm going to be playing that like crazy. Or as crazy as one can be for something like that. Although, other plans I have around March? I think March. I have plans on replaying the entire Half-Life series, or let's see. Half-Life and Portal is a game I wanted to kind of come back to, and I kind of missed out on doing something for the 20th anniversary of Half-Life. But there is an anniversary coming around April for Portal, so I just kind of felt like, yeah, maybe I might try to focus on playing the Half-Life games and Portal games around March. So look out for that. That's going to be nice. I wanted an excuse to replay Half-Life, so that's my excuse. I'm not going to be able to do any personal voice acting, but I am going to just be able to talk about stuff at least. I had like other plans for maybe some other games, but those are kind of not really set in stone. I'm not 100% certain on how I want to do stuff like that going forward, is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Right, Anthony, I've just been constantly trying to think about what I want to do for the ceiling. I think I could probably... I know I'm like trying to build this in the background. I guess in the future, I might try to play more Minecraft. I've always wanted to have an excuse to play more Minecraft, but it's always been difficult giving myself a reason to do so. So this is my roundabout solution, one could say. Again, I need to think about stuff. I guess I could kind of talk about what I'm doing. So, years ago, and weirdly enough, this is also around the time that I was doing my Stanley Parable video, I made a build that I called the Underwater Library. over on my Minecraft server. And the whole concept of the build itself is to have a giant library that I can explore and have actual books that I can read in the library, and it's mainly a way for... Let's see. I like knowledge. I like information. There's a lot of information that can be stored for like the server specifically, and I want to have that written down somewhere. And to do that, the only way that I feel like does the information that I want to store justice is just to make a giant library and have it available for anyone on the server to be like, wow, this is a thing that happened? Wait, that's a thing that happened? Hey, my gosh, that's a thing? I didn't know, and that kind of stuff. Other options I had as, like, stuff I can put in here is, like, actual genuine books. Probably stuff that's in the public domain, like Moby Dick, as an example. Or, various books that are in the public domain, just so I can be able to get them in here anyway, without, like, hassle coming out of it somehow. The Bible. Or just whatever stories other people feel like making. And having that as a thing that can be stored in the library. That's just something I want to do, basically. Need to be a bit... Alright. It's also someone else online, and I'm just kind of throwing resources his way every now and again. Because I've been playing too much, and he just started playing recently. Let's see. So in the future, I thought either for the State of Dean videos that I don't feel like I want to edit too much on, or if I just want to talk for a while without other people, I guess, interjecting too much. As much as I like the streaming, there's parts of me that would rather just sit down and play a game for a while without needing to talk with people a lot. And that's also kind of why I haven't been streaming a whole lot, but that's another thing. So I might, in the future, actually work on this a bit more. There's a lot that I want to do on this world. A lot. There's a lot. I've got like a map that I want to work on. It's just... I could probably go on for that for a while, but... let's see. So, Satisfactory as like a thing. I still want to work on it a lot. There's stuff I still want to get finished with it. Mostly trying to get to the point where I can get like 60 items a minute. That's been my overall goal, and as much as I've been working on that, I've hit a couple more snags than I thought there would be. Basically, main snag at the moment is a problem with getting all of the items required for aluminum production set up, and that's just been difficult to manage. And like every time that I try to get it all working, because of how I built it, the entire factory needs to be functioning first before I can start tweaking it. But then because I'm not done tweaking it, things get out of balance really quickly, which then causes the factory to stop working. Which then I need to wait for the entire thing to start working again before I can start tweaking it again, so it works for longer periods of time. you see the problem. So I think this is more of around aluminum factories in the game, where trying to deal with everything around it is always going to be difficult. But once I get that tuned up and actually done, I'm going to go as far as I can into... or let's see, far as I can into getting the rest of the projects there done. Which, the next thing going to be once I get that is getting nuclear pasta 100% automated for the 60 a minute. Which I do need some like special parts for, which luckily, due to the amount of aluminum that I'm actually creating, I should be able to supply... Oh, I found a floor that I haven't worked on yet. And in terms of when I'm actually going to be streaming Satisfactory, because I feel like that's always been kind of a questionable thing for me at the moment, it's going to be whenever I feel like I've made enough progress in the game that I can do something that won't take too much effort to work on, as in, like... Alright, so the whole factory's kind of ready. Now I'm going to be building up a lot of the stuff, and then we'll get like the whole thing done, and it'll be really cool once it gets done. That's kind of what I want to work on stream, just so I feel like I'm making progress, and other people also watch and feel like I'm making progress. But for the stuff like in the aluminum factory, it ended up being like way more work, and I'm still working on it to this day, even though I've been working on it for like a month at this point. That's been a lot. I'm hoping on getting it finished, so that I can go into like the next stages of the overall project of getting 60 a minute of all the late game items. That's still going to be the goal, and I'm going to try to reach that in any way I know how. I just, need to get the aluminum part done first. But I'm thinking on once I get the aluminum factory actually completed, I've been hoping on making a world tour video and actually showing off the Satisfactory world. I don't think I'd do like a stream showing it all off, because there's a lot that I want to go through. I might do something like this, where I just talk about the build itself, and I just kind of show that around. And weirdly enough, I actually kind of like doing videos like this, where I don't have that many edits and just talk about something while I'm working on it. Kind of like streaming, but a little one-sided. So, probably in the future, I might actually do more of this. I actually kind of like this. Let's see, other plans for videos in the future. And I think once I get that done, I might start wrapping this up. One game that I really do want to make a video on at some point is Slay the Princess. I have a kind of a cool idea of what I want to do with it, or like the video itself. I could do something standard, like just talking about the game and stuff on it. Or, oh no. Shadow, you always slayed by a zombie. Oh no. But let's see, I could think about just making a video that just talks about the game itself, which could be an option. So that's... Hold on. 1 second. Was this someone's hole? Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. I just found like a random tunnel that leads to nowhere. Okay, I don't know why this tunnel is here. I think I might have done something at some point and just completely forgot. Oh, yeah, I think this was me at some point. But so the idea that I have for the Slay the Princess video is kind of having like my own take on the entire game. More specifically, my entire experience, but retold through my eyes on like how I saw everything, and just like my thoughts on like every choice that I was making and why I was making them, that kind of thing. And that's the... hold on. Oh, it's daytime now. I was trying to go to sleep so I can like save him, but oh well. Oh, wait. Right, so with the Slay the Princess thing, retelling everything through my perspective, but also just for like shits and giggles, voice acting everything in there. Which, if you don't know, it's the whole game is a very narrated-centric game where you have a narrator that tells you what's going on, and as the game goes on, things fall apart depending on the choices that you make. The main enemy that you're supposed to be killing is a character called the Princess, and eventually you kill them. Eventually. Or don't, and to go through a lot of diplomacy and thinking about maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't kind of questions until you figure out what you want to do with her. While doing so, reality just kind of falls apart because you're not slaying the princess quite yet, and everything keeps changing depending on your choices. So, for me, that's going to be like me literally voicing all of the characters. Like not just the princess, but also as the game goes on, things get more and more corrupted, and the character that you play as starts splitting into multiple personalities. Like you got the voice of the hero as like the base one, but then you get the voice of the paranoid, the voice of the skeptic, the voice of the contrarian, and that just keeps going on and on and on. Until eventually enough stuff just like stops working, and everything fades away to darkness, and everything just kind of resets every time. So for me, I have I feel like a whole story that I remember very fondly, and I've actually written down exactly how my quest went or panned out. And I want to make a like an edited video that just kind of goes over my experiences with it, my thoughts on it, my takeaway from the entire experience. Because I feel like that's kind of the purpose of Slay the Princess. Not that there's like hidden lore that needs to be uncovered, but it's one of those morality test kind of games or questionnaires. It's like the trolley problem, but like actually more interesting. Here you have a princess that has no idea why they're here, but you're told that they have the capability of destroying the world. What do you do about this situation? And then there's like a bazillion different ways that you can go about it. I don't think there's not really a answer that you can take away from it, but it's more about what it is than what kind of a, or like what your choices are, really. I felt like I've changed notably, like my whole perspective on life and reality has changed very notably since I got done with that game, because I haven't stopped thinking about it since I finished it. And I want to make a video on that. So in a way, that'll kind of get me set up for doing voice acting stuff, just like trying to... I think one thing I could probably work on is just getting more emotion out of acts that I do. And I just need more practice, and I feel like that's going to be something that I can practice on. Instead of like a teacher of mine giving me homework, I am my own teacher, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, this is a problem that I have. Let's see if we can figure out if we can fix this so that things can improve in that direction. Because I know what direction I need to go. and I know how to prepare myself for that, so that's what I'm doing. Although I'm thinking on, before I do the whole Slay the Princess thing, I want to make a video where I kind of voice act as characters from Undertale, and have like little segments of those, and have that as like a base demo for what kind of voices that I can kind of get without going into too much detail. I think also I just want to make a couple videos that are more centered around demos that just kind of show off what I'm capable of doing. Because that can be very useful for people who are trying to find a voice actor, and also useful for me. Because I can get through like a bunch of different voices, I think. But, I mean, I can force myself to try to say anything. But, notably, feminine voices are always going to be difficult. Just because, like, you gotta... Let's see, so a problem that I have specifically with, like the female voices that I try to do is that I have to, like, strain myself quite a lot in order to reach the, like peak pitchness in order to match that up. But also trying to get out, like, the bass rumble that I think my voice has by default. And this is kind of the only way that I can really, like, go about doing that, and it's always kind of difficult to do.
However, going between different high and low pitched voices very frequently is actually quite possible for me.
I can do that fairly well, I think. Let's see, there was a friend of mine, Silence. You've probably seen him a couple times on, like, some of my streams, or in, like, some of the, like, the Lethal Company gameplay that I've done. But recently we've been playing a game called Danganronpa, and basically just voice acting all the characters in there. It's kind of like an anime visual novel kind of thing, and we have a lot of fun with that. If you want to go check, actually, I'm gonna see if I can actually link his channel so that you can find out, like, what kind of voice acting stuff that I've been doing, but also just to kind of say, hey, like, this is stuff that Silence is doing. So, that's like an option to check out, I guess. But, so, doing that has actually taught me really well on, like, what kind of voices I can do very well, which ones I can't do very well, what I need to work on, that kind of stuff. One of the things I mentioned earlier is more like more of this raspier voice. What exactly that is, I'm not 100% certain. But I feel like this is probably one of my more easier ones that I can talk with for, like, a very long period of time. I can kind of do away with that. Probably. Or I can, you know, whatever. Endurance is also something else that I need to work on, and going through that project has also helped with that very well. But, yeah, getting into making demo videos, taking a drink of water, sorry, going through demo videos, trying to give people a good idea of what kind of voices I can do very well, and what ones I'm not good at. Just to make it easier to find characters or voices for characters that I think would work well with me. Ow. Go away. So far, I think the style that I like going for a lot of is, let's see,
Probably chaotic little munchkin. Oh, I love the chaotic little munchkin dynamic.
I think, I can kind of do that fairly well. The lower raspier type voices, I can kind of clearly do fairly well too. But just generally looking for what kind of voices that I can do, and that's just going to be a focus for the future. Let's see. What other projects do I want to talk about before I, like, finish stuff up? I'm not certain at the moment. Well, end of the year, isn't it? Or it should be. This year's been very interesting, to say the least. I did not expect me to go through a lot of effort to make this PNG avatar specifically for the streams that I do. I did not expect that. Much the same as I probably won't expect whatever crazy thing I'll get into next year. I have plans, I have ideas, but I've said this many times. I can plan for things years in advance so that I can have time to work on those things years in advance. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Even making this whole video itself, despite how little effort it took for me to actually make this thing. There's no edits in this video. This is all just recorded in one take. Which I'm only able to do stuff like this because of the time I've spent streaming, and I'm very fascinated by like what I'm able to do just because of that. I'm very curious to see what kind of stuff I'll get into later. But I just have to be sure to open up those opportunities for myself and keep them open. And be sure to, whenever possible, if ever I find a door for like even a brief moment, I need to take it if it's like a window of opportunity kind of thing. I guess as a message for people out there who are kind of in the same boat that I'm in, where you're not sure where to go with your life, but you have to go somewhere with it. Pick somewhere. As much as much as the internet is like interesting to hang out in, to form a community for a while, in reality, we should not be going here by default. We should only be going on the internet to hang out with each other as a hobby and as like a side thing to do, not as a job. And this also should not be a place for people to live their lives in. As nice as it is seeing people in like the chat feed or like in comment sections on YouTube, I don't know these people at all. I might be able to get an idea of what they are in real life, but I won't really know who they are. Just the same as people won't really know who I am either without having met me in real life. But be sure to take some time away from staying on a screen for that long. Don't make your life revolve around what people on the internet think of you. That's not a healthy way to live your life. What is healthy, though, is finding friends in reality. Which could also kind of come from the internet, so ironic, isn't it? But don't focus too much on what people think of you on the internet, because that's just on the internet and not really. It won't really come back to hurt you at all if things go wrong. Depending on how deep in shit you are, of course, but you know. I'm gonna take my own advice and probably move a bit further away from the internet just so I can actually be able to live a life that I think is worth living instead of one that's like constantly monitored and edited to like absolute perfection. Because I don't think that's something I feel happy doing. But the happiest I've ever been is actually just being with people and chatting with them. And I have a fear that if I get big enough, I will kind of lose that aspect. So for now, as nice as it would be to get as big as possible, for no other reason than to hopefully get some revenue off of this as a hobby, I don't want to get big. Because I just feel like I'll lose out on that personal connection. Oh. Seems to be Shadow got done with his sugarcane farm. Oh yeah, the entire time Shadow's been working on a sugarcane farm. Oh, don't tell him. Don't tell him, but I have a better one. It works at least. Chat, does he know? Does he know, chat? He doesn't know. I'm gonna ruin this man's whole career. This is stupid. I think that this whole thing that I worked on took way more resources than it should have, because I wasn't sure how to get it to work. But, just don't tell him, chat.
There's no chat here. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to people on a YouTube video.
Well, that, I guess that being said, if you, there was one thing that I wanted to talk about. I do have, like, a plan that I have for if I reach 1,000 subscribers. And, I think I'll talk about it at one point, but I'm just gonna say it again. The plan is to somehow, some way, go through every single one of my streams, all of the videos that I've ever made, look through the comment section, scour them to the ends of the earth, to find as many names as possible, as many different names as possible, and then have an entire video that's just me naming off all of those people that I can find. That is, in my opinion, an idea of, like, a way to celebrate having having a 1,000 people subscribe to my channel, whether or not they, like, are still around or they've moved on or something. That's my way of celebrating that big achievement. So, right now, my main job is to figure out how I can convince people to be invested in what I'm working on. Which the best way to go about that is just to, well, have a life that's worth looking into. Like, I wonder how he's doing in this this project, this reality. I want to check this out, that kind of stuff. And eventually, when I reach that 1,000 sub milestone, I'm going to do the big naming off video. It's going to be difficult because I'm going to have to, again, look through a lot. But I've been racking up a list already as is of people's names, and it's nowhere near 1,000. But it'll probably have to do. Shoot, what was I looking for? Oh, yeah, I needed whole blocks. That's right. Whole cut blocks. There we go. On top of that, when I do eventually one day reach the 1,000 sub milestone, I do plan on making a hold on. I do plan on making a stream where it's just a big ol' Q&A video. So, whenever the 1,000 subs actually get reached, and I actually am able to make the large and complicated... Hold on, I'm trying to find... There it is. Whenever I get around to making the large and complicated giant, I'm gonna name off everybody video. That's gonna be an interesting time, to say the least. Hope you'll be around for that whenever it happens. Is there any more that I want to talk about at the moment? Well, I've already passed an hour, which is kind of like the limit that I gave myself on this. Right, well, I guess as a project update on the library build, I needed a bunch of prismarine, crimson wood, copper as well, just to get, like, the decorations on there. I do need to get lighting on here, because I think that's gonna fix my drown problem. So right now, this is just an issue. I thought about like putting axolotls in here, which I could probably do, but I also thought about putting like a ton of fish in. I missed it. Oh wait, I missed a whole segment here. Oh well, I'll get to that at some point. But just having like a bunch of fish going around, having like sources of plant life also around as well. I want to do a lot of that. It's just gonna take a bit. Also for this is like the whole of, or like the archaeology hole, where like information just kind of piles on from way down at the bottom. Where like down at the bottom, at the very depths of the library, is like the start of the server. And as you go up and up and up, it just gets more and more recent. I have there's like actually like a lot of lore to the server that I want to like write down and record, so I don't have to like go over too much, and have it as an ability for people to find out over time. And then also have backups on my computer in case like stuff gets stolen for some reason. Which I find it funny that I'm like planning on things getting stolen or broken at some point. I feel like it's a bit of an inevitability at some point on the server with how like open I have it. Something will happen. I don't know when that will happen, but I just have plans for that time. Oh. Hello, slimes. Right, I think that's probably going to be ending the State of Dean video. I hope you all did enjoy this at least some amount. New Year's coming up right around the corner, at least if I like make sure I get this uploaded on time. Which, honestly, since I don't have to do like literally any editing, I can just like straight up upload this. Which actually, I'm gonna try this more. This is actually kind of good. Problem I had with like previous State of Deans is like as nice as they are being, or as good as they are and edited and whatever, I just wanted to get the message out, and then like the visuals would follow. But the visuals have just been getting harder and harder to work on, so I think this is going to be kind of a nice compromise. Right. Well, I think that's going to end the video for now. Hope you all enjoyed it at least some amounts, and you all have a good night. Good, bye-bye.